It's time to talk about pools. Pools are fun. They're a huge part of everyone's childhood, I think. I have wonderful fond memories of pools. But remember, children and water, potentially dangerous. So let's get into pool safety and the things you can do to make it fun and safe for everyone. Drowning is the third leading cause of accidental death in children, the third leading cause. And it happens mainly in kids about 14 to 36 months of age. So that's the biggest risk group, although it can happen to any child who's unsupervised in a pool. So pools are a problem. And you don't have to have a big, gorgeous built-in pool to have a child, drown. You can have children drown in as little as an inch of water. A 5-gallon bucket that you just got at Home Depot that happens to have some water in the bottom, or those inflatable pools that we use just to kind of keep cool in the hot weather. Anything that has this much water in the bottom can cause your child to drown. So it's across the board, anything from the big pools to the little tiny bits of water. All of those can be potential drowning risks to kids. Washing machines can be as well. Never leave a washing machine open where your child may actually fall in, and especially if there's any water in there. Never ever leave a washing machine open. Now you would think that if your child tumbled into a pool, you would hear the splash and the child would cry out. That does not happen the majority of the time. Children are little, they don't make a very big splash in the first place. And once you're in water and you're starting to drown, your priority is not to cry out. Your priority is to try to stay breathing. Children will do things like you'll see them flailing in the water and with their arms out. They tend to put their arms out to try to stay near the surface, and their face will come out with their sort of lips and mouth up toward the surface. That tells you that child is in trouble. That isn't a child that's having fun in the pool. That's a child who's having trouble in the pool. So don't expect to hear anything. Don't expect to have any cries for help. You will not hear that. You may not hear that at all. The child may just slip under the water quite quietly and drown. What is the law and what is crucial is to fence your pool. If you are pregnant and you're going to be having a baby and you have a pool, get that thing fenced.
Right.
Pools need to be fenced by law. And not just fenced. They need to have a self-closing door that latches. So it's the kind that has the spring that if you happen to walk out, it closes itself and it
automatically
latches.
close behind you. If you move into a new house, make sure that that house has a pool, has a fence around the pool, and that self-locking gate before you move in. Very, very key. If you have a hot tub, you need to have a fence around it, but a lot of hot tubs don't come with fences.
Right.
Make sure it has some type of cover, a real solid cover, not just something that keeps it warm, it keeps it dust-free, but a really, really solid cover that's locked at all times when the hot tub is occupied.
It seals itself around that hot tub.
Exactly.
Hot tubs are particularly scary because if that lid comes up and the child slips in and that lid comes back down, you may not even know the child is there.
Exactly. Make sure that any time young children are around a pool or in a pool that there's adult supervision, and make sure that adult knows how to swim. Make them show you that they know how to swim. Just don't take their word for it. Keep a portable phone around the pool. The last thing you want to do is have to run into the house if there's an emergency and then find that phone that we can never find. So make sure that there's a portable phone outside by the pool. And lastly, if you live in a house with a pool, if you're in an apartment complex, condo complex, and there's a pool, someone in your group, someone in your family needs to know CPR.
If there's lightning and thunder outside, get out of the pool. Not a great idea to be swimming when there's electricity and water. And lightning is just electricity in its extreme. So you just don't want electricity and water together in your house or out of your house. So lightning and thunder, get out of the pool. And large floating toys are fine to play with as long as they're being played with. But if they're not being played with, get them out of the pool, particularly in a pool that is unattended, a pool where there's nobody out there. You're not there, the kids aren't there, nobody's supposed to be playing in the pool. They can hide things underneath, like children, that get into the water. So big things like those floats and out of the pool if they're not being used. Just take them out. Now teach all kids to swim as soon as possible, and it is incredibly cute and fun to take your infant to swimming school, but a couple things to know. Your child may learn how to swim, but it takes some sophistication, some understanding to be able to paddle and get to the steps and get out. So just because your child knows how to swim doesn't mean that they're safe in the pool. So that's crucial. Yes, teach them how to swim, but they need to be old enough to have the logic to know to get to the side of the pool and out. And that's an older child. That's not a toddler that is able to do that. Never allow anybody in the pool by themselves. It's just a flat-out rule, never, ever, ever unsupervised, period. And if you have a pool, try to have it such that you have a clear view of that pool from your house. Particularly if you have it built in, there's only so much you can do. But if you're putting up a pool, or you're blowing up one of those little pools and putting water, make sure it's a place where you can see it from inside the house.
Exactly, definitely. A lot of pools have those automatic vacuums with large cords. Kids can get them tangled in them, so make sure you take them out before your child goes inside. A lot of drains have covers that are called anti-entrapment or anti-hair snare. They're really good so that hair and fingers and stuff can't get inside the drain.
Suck down in that drain.
Especially older jacuzzis, you want to be really careful. They can have some powerful suction, so make sure they have some type of cover on them so that hair or fingers can't get inside. You want to make sure all pool chemicals are locked away. Make sure there's no extension cords outside. People like to set up sound systems and all sorts of things outside their pool. Just make sure that the extension cords are nowhere near the pool. Again, if you're having anybody but yourself watch your child as they're swimming, such as a babysitter, a relative, or a friend, make sure they know how to swim and have them show you. We said that. And lastly, if the adult who's responsible for watching the child in the pool, they shouldn't be reading, they shouldn't be listening to music with headphones. Their 100% concentration needs to be on the children in the pool.
If you think about when you went to a pool or you went to the beach and there was a lifeguard, all a lifeguard does is sit in that chair and watch people. That's all they're allowed to do for a reason. You have to be attentive. It doesn't take long for a child to slip underwater and drown.
Right.
So you have to be very attentive.
And I think these are some of the most heartbreaking cases because the children look uninjured. And sometimes there are fates worse than death itself. I mean, having a child who's profoundly neurologically injured can be just heartbreaking for the family.
And it doesn't have to happen.
Right.
So be
it's
safe.
so preventable.